Trucking companies, get ready
For?
to start paying drivers more because competition's back. Look, I am not one to legitimately say that we're back to normal since COVID, but this is the absolute first year since COVID. And look, guys, I'm not being official on this. I'm not saying, oh, it's back to normal. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's the first time I felt like a normal year in 6 years. 6 years. And I mean, I'll tell you the big sign. Freight is like going crazy, right? And driver demand is going crazy. Now, I've always told everybody, you want to know how you're going to know when normal times are back? Well, you can go on Craigslist or Indeed and just look in all the cities and look to see if there's local and regional jobs. Guess what?
Are there?
Well, there hasn't been any for years, hardly anywhere. Guess what? They're there. I'm just saying they are literally pounding the pavements for truckers now, which means they're getting overwhelmed with freight. They bring them into the big cities, and now local drivers can distribute them. Before, when they didn't have enough freight, the OTR guys come in, and it was brutal. And I'm going to tell you, trucking companies, something. A lot of you guys were brutal to drivers in the last couple of years. They were. They tightened up on their hiring. They were just downright nasty. And it's kind of a war. You got drivers that are bringing it upon themselves. They're mean to companies. You got companies that are mean to drivers. And then when freight is down, they're like, go to hell when you call for a job.
Right.
Now they're begging. Honestly, and they're not all begging, but I'm just telling you that the market seems to be back and truck drivers are in demand. And I just read reports. They're saying it's going to get a lot worse. Now, I'm not being official. I'm just saying it feels like a normal time for truck driver demand.
When you say get worse, exactly what do you mean get worse as far as like the driver side of it or the freight side of it? I'm just curious.
Okay.
Because I have my ideas, but I might be wrong.
So in normal times, excuse me, really what is everybody after?
The dollar.
Which comes from the freight.
Right.
Okay. So in order to get the freight, you got to be able to put in bids and you got to be able to get the freight. So what do trucking companies normally do? In bad times, they downsize. In good times, what do they normally do? They try to grow their fleets because they got to keep up with demand. They want to grow. They want to be able to be the supplier. Everybody wants to be the supplier.
Right.
So now what's happening is you've got freight demand. It's been a long time since freight demand was back. Okay. And so the more demand, that means the more trucking companies need to get drivers. And you know what else it's going to do? This is like this vicious cycle trucking companies are about to see. If it is as good as it might be, again, I don't want to be official.
Right.
Okay. What happens is other trucking companies go, well, we'll pay this much more for a driver. And so what happens is the trucking company that thought they were okay, you're going to start losing drivers because somebody else is going to pay your driver more money, okay, for him to leave. And that's what's going to happen. And it creates this vicious cycle. And then when you got Billy Bob, he leaves company A and goes to company B. And then you know what he does? He calls his buddy up back at company A and says, "Oh, you better get over here, man. I'm making a lot more over here than I was over there." And then his buddy runs over there. And then next thing you know, you have a flow of drivers leaving and you have to hire a certain amount. And when that happens, trucking companies have to really pull out their wallets and start advertising, and they have to come up with gimmicks and all kinds of ways to get drivers. That's the way normal used to be. It is. And listen, the demand creates that. Okay? It's just vicious like that. Okay, freight gets big, then companies want to haul the freight so they can get paid. In order to do that, they got to hire more drivers because they have drivers that are quitting and they want to grow. It's just this craziness.
Right.
It is. But guess what? They say trucking companies would rather the driver problem versus the freight problem. Because even though it's costing them a lot of money and turnover,
Mm-hmm.
making a lot more money because of the contracts and the freight.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay, so I was just reading an article about how 200,000 CDLs are now going to be out of the drivers are going to be out of the flux, right? So all the drivers that are now out there driving obtain their CDLs legally and have been doing whatever is expected of them and required of them to obtain it. What do you think is going to happen now with 200,000 drivers,
Illegals,
right?
Okay.
Not being in the system now? I have my idea that it's going to give a better, like all these drivers that are out there that are doing it all legally and that are doing it, working hard to get their dollar. I think that now that those are not going to be there anymore, and the drivers that are out there trying to get a good job, I think that opens it up more for drivers. But what do you think? Because this article I was reading was kind of really being ridiculous. I had to shut it down. I was getting fired up over it. So what do you think is going to happen?
Well, let me just say this. First off, this excessive amount of illegals that are in the country, they only came with the COVID times themselves. Pre-COVID, yeah, we always had a small amount, and it was a very tight way of getting a CDL at one time, the non-domicile CDLs.
Right.
But when the Biden administration, I'll just say it, I'm not picking on Biden, I'm just saying, they opened the borders, they were just giving CDLs out like they were candy, okay? In the history of America, that amount of illegals given CDLs has never been. So what I'm getting at, though, is in the last 6 years, okay, that number, that 200,000 truck drivers, that's been added. But pre-COVID, they didn't exist. So when we go back to normal times, we're going back to when we didn't have 200,000 extra drivers in the market to begin with. See, the one thing that the rich man knows, if you have too many drivers, right, guess what? You don't have to pay them much because they fight for the job, right? I'm serious. I mean,
they take what they can.
If you look at the last so many years, a lot of trucking companies had reduction in their rate per mile they were paying drivers. And the reason they could do that is because there was low freight, too many drivers, which drove rates down, where truckers were like, yeah, okay, I'll work for less. I'll work for less. I'll work for less. Now it's going to go the opposite way. First off, something that shouldn't be there is going to be gone.
Right.
The 200,000 illegals. All right. And then the freight is back, which creates it creates a labor demand. That's how people pay their bills when you're in demand, of course. So now, ironically, I was going to talk about it later. These are weird numbers, but I just read the article on driverless trucks. They're saying by 2035, there's going to be roughly 200,000 plus driverless trucks on the road. Getting rid of 200,000 illegals, but yet 200,000 driverless trucks are coming. But it's going to take longer, though, for them to come in. So I would just tell you that my thoughts on that, I'm glad they're getting rid of illegals. It's first off, they're illegal. Okay, if they're illegal, they got to go. All right. Second off, I'm all about, citizens of the United States. That's what we have to be. I have compassion on all humans, but they got to go. American truck drivers need to get back to work and get back to work to where they actually can get paid more. And now that, I'm telling you, spring is just about here, and it seems like it's ramping up. Now, a month from now, everybody can be going, oh, where's all this freight, Troy? You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not saying we're officially back to normal. But I am saying it feels like it did up to 2000. At the end of 2019, when COVID hit, okay, it feels like prior to that, to me.
Do you think in this article. This article really got me going. So sorry if I keep throwing you these questions, but it really irritated me with some of the comments that were made in it. And one of them said, I don't know if it was a driver that made the comment or if it was just someone that thought that they knew enough about the industry, but they said, oh, with losing that many drivers, that's going to make the average other driver now drive more hours, go illegal, and more accidents. And I'm thinking to myself, no, because most of the time the accidents that are happening are not from a driver driving over. We not legally, at least, because ELDs have so much work that they have to do. And I don't understand how they could think that there's going to be more accidents out there with not as many people on the road that don't know the road. I don't know how to word that right.
Let me just say this. Up to recently, there was a lot of truckers that couldn't get work. Like, for example, remember I said earlier, trucking companies had actually tightened up on their hiring, meaning, okay, if somebody had 5 jobs or more in the last 3 years, they couldn't get in. If they had more than 2 tickets, they couldn't get in.
Right.
They made it a little harder for truck drivers.
The insurance companies, especially.
Right, but yet you had, and that was another reason because of the illegals driving, everything. It was a very tight market. Now it's loosening up to where truck drivers have choice and they're more in demand. Okay. I say that's good. That's good for the American truck driver. It's good for the trucking company. They're making more money. They are making more money, I promise you. Like I've talked to many trucking companies, and they always say, well, we'd rather the driver problem versus the freight problem.
Right. The
last so many years, how many trucking companies went out of business?
Do you remember when they said about the driver shortage that we were having for so long?
Well, yeah, that's always been numbers, and that's here and there.
And I think it's a bunch of bull, but go ahead.
Well, all I'm saying is the demand is, I think, back, and we'll just leave it at that. Let's report back on this in a month from now, because we all know predominantly January, February, and March, even in good years, are the worst 3 months of the year, because flatbed freight is very low, winter's in, the storms are in, a lot of truck drivers don't want to drive in the snow, blah, 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 right? Then all of a sudden, the spring comes, Memorial Day, Easter, all those big orders are coming. That ramps everything up. Flatbed freight opens back up. Road construction opens back up in your northern states. Guess what happens there? People start ordering boots and gloves and nails and hammers, and just everything in a mix just explodes.
Right.
And in a good year, all of a sudden, April, normally by the end of March, beginning of April, it just goes boom. And if you were to make money in trucking, you can drive. If you can drive, you can make a lot of money just getting out there and running for somebody. So let's report back on this, say in May, and we'll talk to some of our companies that we, are in touch with, and we'll kind of get actual reports and be able to go, yes, it is, or false alarm. It's not that great.
Right.
But I'm telling you, I'm not being official. Anyways, moving on.
All
right, let's take a break.
Hey drivers, I have a question for you. Are you still searching load boards? Are you still booking your own loads? If you answered yes, then I have another question for you. How would you like to find loads faster and easier just by saying these words? Hey Bubba. Introducing Hey Bubba, the most advanced technology in AI dispatching today. No more searching different load boards, no more booking your own loads, no more making phone calls, no more negotiating your own rates. Bubba does it all. And it all starts with Hey Bubba. So if you want the most powerful AI dispatching tool known to man today, head on over to bubba.ai and download your free version of Hey Bubba today. Again, go to bubba.ai and get your free download today.
Truck
Trucking Club is a network of instantly reservable daily and monthly truck parking locations throughout the U.S. Truck Parking Club helps connect truckers to truck parking locations throughout the U.S. via truckparkingclub.com. Our networks is made up of property owners that have locations adequate for truck parking to list on the platform. This includes trucking companies, storage companies, CDL schools, trailer leasing companies, real estate investors, truck parking operators, and more. Go to truckparkingclub.com today.
Okay, we're back. So, interesting. I put an article up this week, right, on TalkCDL about a trucker that he got arrested in northern Florida. And when they arrested him, they found a little bit of narcotic, nothing like to write.
Just a little bit.
No, I'm just saying nothing like to where you go, oh, there's a record. He just probably his own personal use. But they found a big magnet with him. And here, yeah, he was a truck that was wanted for stealing fuel. Now, I never even heard of this. And, well, let me just say this. I guess there's a place you get these really powerful magnets. And when you go to pump your fuel, you place it in a certain area, right, on the fuel mechanism. And it, I guess, causes the meter to not count and the fuel to flow. Yeah, exactly. And you can literally get free fuel. But, eventually you're going to get caught because, first off, they have cameras everywhere. And when they start going, okay, somebody's stealing out the pumps, they're going to go back and see where it didn't count. And here's ironically, I mean, I think it might be over 1 million views on that one now, right? It was a video we made about it. But I couldn't tell you how many truckers wrote in and said, hey, listen, I'm just asking for a friend. Where do you stick the magnet? No, there was other ones. I'm telling you, it was like just all these messages we're getting, right?
Especially five something, 550, 560 a gallon.
Yeah, exactly over $5 a gallon. They're like, one guy's like, yeah, where are you just asking for I couldn't believe how many said just asking for a friend.
Statistically, right? I would have liked to know.
He's like, where do you get those magnets? It's like, wink,
science.
wink. Yeah. So, but anyways,
crazy.
The guys got arrested, and that's a federal offense,
Yeah.
And, I even said on the video, look, I'm not going to teach anybody how to steal, but I will tell you this. You could probably figure it out yourself pretty easy. You can figure out where to get the magnet, but you got to remember one thing. You're on candid camera when you're doing that.
All the pumps are. They could see someone putting a magnet on.
All they got to do is timestamp. All they got to do is see where the fuel wasn't being counted, and wink, wink. Put 2 and 2 together, and there you are on camera with your DOT number, with your face, everything. Now, if you want to go in there with a ski mask and cover up your DOT number,
Come in stealth.
Yeah, come in like a stealth. No, I wouldn't recommend it. I remember when I was a driver. Reefer guys were, they called it padding the fuel bill. What they would do is they would pump 50, and you had to have a guy. Now, I'm not teaching you guys that.
Say, what are you doing?
No, but honestly, truly, companies know these, okay? They
know the tricks.
But what they used to do is, especially some of those small fuel stations, not like
like the mom and pop shop.
You're probably not going to get Pilot and TA and Loves to do it, but like your mom and pop fuel places, what they would do is you'd go in. I'm not saying me, but I'm just saying I knew people that did it. You would put $50 worth of fuel in your tank, and they would give you a receipt for 100. And or you wouldn't put any in, literally, and they'd give you a receipt for 100, and they would charge your card, right, your fuel card, and the guy behind the desk would keep $50, and the trucker would put $50 in his pocket, and the trucking company would get ripped off $100. That's how, and you get caught, you're going to get fired. Yeah, I'm telling you.
How can what I think
Because you have to. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off. You have to have somebody that's working behind the desk with you that's willing to wink, wink, charge the card for 100 gallons that never went in the tank, or $100 or whatever.
I guess, I mean, you would have to use a receipt, like like, you know how they used to have 2 logbooks? I guess you would have to have 2 receipt runners or whatever it was, because usually you would add up those receipts and you would help figure out what your fuel was that your in and outs, in a matter of speaking. So,
and you know,
you'd have to use something secondary.
And here's the thing, like if you're working, like say you're working for a company that has 1,000 trucks, right? I wonder if it's hard for them to even know, like especially like if you're taking that truck, say from Ohio to Pennsylvania, right? And let's say you're going to do a drop and hook. How do they know? You know, the next guy, he picks up fuel and he just puts it in without even thinking. You know, how does the company go, wait a second, I was supposed to be fuel already in that? You know, now, I don't know. I'm sure they keep track of it better today than they did when I was a driver. So I would just, all I'm saying is scamming doesn't pay off. You get caught. And here's the thing. There's a couple things in trucking. If you get caught, you probably aren't getting a job. That's one of them. If you get caught stealing freight or you get caught stealing fuel, you are not honestly and truly going to have a job. And no, the next guy's not going to hire you. I'm going to tell you something else that we used to watch for. If a trucker calls you and he ever was involved, there's not many actually that I've met, but I've met a handful of guys that had their trailer or their truck stolen. Like, okay, I was at home. My truck was parked at a parking lot, right? And it got stolen. Well,
the lock was cut,
and a lot of companies suspect the driver was in on it. And man, I'm telling you, even if you're not in on it, protect your truck when you're home, because if you're not in on it and your truck gets stolen, there's a good chance that company might fire you and then tell the next company, well, he had his truck and trailer stolen. We suspect that he might be involved in it. So honestly, you don't want to steal. You don't want to have your truck stolen. These are little things that honestly will hurt you getting a job. I know there's drivers out there going, oh, that's bullcrap. If somebody steals my trailer, how could I be at fault? Well, because many times drivers are in on it.
Yeah.
That's why you're already under suspicion.
Correct. You're already under it. And today's networking, there's so many cameras that are out and around. It doesn't take much for them to find out who's involved in it and at least get the IDs of them. And, you know, people do shakedowns. I'm just saying.
It's very true. Anyways, moving on. I mean, you know, there was an article that we talked about this week, not on the podcast, on social media. A trucker up in New York hit 12 or 13 bridges with a, I don't know, an excavator or a high backhoe or something, right?
Right.
Look, you hit one. All right? That's one. To get to number 13, you should lose your CDL.
Did you ever go see the guy that goes walking into he's walking, he's just one of those tall guys, and he's walking through a doorway or something like that, and he's topping his head.
Yeah,
you know,
is that what it reminds you?
That's what it's reminding me of. You learn not to hit your head. You know, you might hit your head once or twice, but that third time you're going to know, duck.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. The only thing that really makes sense is that maybe he panicked. But I'm sure there was an exit between you and the 13th bridge you whacked. Now, the other thing is, did he know he did it? You had to know. I mean, come on, man. Poof, poof.
I mean,
I never drove in my life where it was poof, poof. You know, like if somebody was with you, they go, did you hear something? No. Poof. There it is again. Poof. Come on, honestly.
You should at least see, you know, the little Yeah, like there's got to be some kind of debris coming down when you look in your mirror. See a little snowing of concrete or whatever the bridge was made out of coming
I'm
down.
curious to see if they weaken the bridge, but
It has to.
I don't know.
Could you imagine the truckers behind him, the conversations they're having? I mean, you could tell you are a little bit taller than what that bridge was stating. It was he the one that was blaming his GPS?
I don't think so. I think that's the other guy.
There was another one?
Yeah.
'Cause there was one that I had read that it was the GPS was being blamed.
Hey, you know, when I was a driver, honestly, my biggest fear was hitting a bridge. Out of everything, you know what I mean? Like, I hear truckers, you know, all the time, oh my gosh, I don't want to go to New York City. Oh, I don't want to drive on. I hear a lot of truckers, I talk to them, they're like, I just don't do mountains. I don't do mountains. I never understood that. I never understood mountains. I mean, it's like, they're mountains. Maybe because we grew up in the mountains. I don't want to be in snow. You know, again, you know, we used to drive out on the back roads to play in it and slide around.
Practice.
But I used to fear looking like an idiot, you know, taking out a low bridge, honestly. Back where we're from, they have a bridge there. And that bridge, Cressona, Pennsylvania.
183.
That bridge has eaten so many trailers. It's under a little train trestle. And it's only like 11 foot. 10 or less. It's very low. And yet people try to stick a 13,600.
Is it 10.8?
Is it what it is?
I think it's like 10.8 or something. I mean, they've done everything that the municipal tried everything to try and get drivers to stop hitting it. Isn't it now they've got like these
they've got
bells
crazy
hanging
warning,
down.
bells and lights and, you know, just everything now. And I don't think anybody really hits it maybe once a year now compared to before. It was like once a week at one point. It was nasty. But yeah, to hit 13 bridges though, that just.
Can you imagine?
My only thought though, if you hit 13 bridges, it must have been just hitting them. If you think about it, like because if you would have hit it pretty solid, the machine would have broken or something. You wouldn't have made it under, or it would have rolled off, or you would have broke the arm or the boom or whatever the case is. So it must have been just clipping it. In order, unless he would like slow down at each one and went. Now that would even be worse. So I don't know. Was he flying doof doof, or did he stop and crunch it through? I don't know, but that's pretty bad stuff.
Can you imagine going? So your last employer, was terminated. Oh yeah, what'd you do? What happened? Oh, I hit a bridge.
Times 13.
More than once. Yes, 13 times. So 13's your lucky number?
How do you get a job?
He's not.
No.
He's not going to get a job. You know, 13's not his lucky number.
I feel bad for those guys, you know.
Ooh, you remember that movie 13 Ghosts? That's what made me think
I was just thinking about that movie. So, but anyways, what do you got? You have anything? You good?
I'm good.
You want to rock and roll?
I'm good. I'm good.
Cut it out for the day?
I'm good. All right. Okay, so my word of the day, you know how every now and then one does get me. Well, this one was one of them because I did not think that this word meant that. So I'm going to play the word and I want you to tell me what you think it might be, the definition. Ready?
Yeah.
Prepossessing.
Prepossessing?
Yeah. Prepossessing. And it's PREPOSSESSING. So spelled exactly what it is. Prepossessing.
So you planned it in your mind? Like almost like premeditate it? You stole it, you planned to steal it because you possess it? I mean, I'm taking a legit guess. I really believe that's what it might be.
See, that's what I honestly was thinking.
Am I even close?
Well, and that's the weird thing is not quite, but kinda. Because see, when I read it, I was thinking that it's like I had possession of it before you. I prepossessed it before you did. That was my idea of it. It's attractive or appealing in appearance. I'm like, the heck? So then
so you possess it in your own mind before you is that what it's saying? Like,
well, the examples in a sentence is, the one is, the neighborhood has become more prepossessing with the recent renovations. Miriam had a prepossessing aurora that always attracted people to her. And that's making it sound more appearing that way, of attractiveness. But then when you read about it, it says, in the 1610s, the word was related to getting possession of land beforehand. The meaning morphed about 20 years later into possessing a person beforehand with a feeling or notion. And in the 1640s, the meaning broadened into causing someone to have a favorable opinion of something to preoccupy the mind or heart of. It's been simplified over the years as an adjective to mean attractive.
Cool. Hey, you know something we didn't talk about?
Huh?
I'm sorry. I'm done with prepossessing. Matt's is this week.
Matt's is this week.
We're not going to be there.
No.
We wanted to be there. We've got...
We did. We tried really hard.
One of our sponsors wanted us to, Hey Bubba wanted us to join them. We love you guys, but... Honestly, we are so busy getting up to Kentucky right now.
There's too many circumstances that really prevented us from being able to get up there.
We actually have to be somewhere this week, and it is what it is. We have responsibilities, and I would love to be in Louisville. It sounds like it's going to be fun. It really does.
I am going to be. I'll tell you what. I will be more disappointed if they had really nice weather. That would bother me.
Yeah, because it's never nice when we're up there.
It's never nice when we're up there.
I'm going to look at the weather. No,
if the weather's really nice, I'm going to be so irritated.
Yeah.
So it's got to be cold and rainy and windy.
Then you'll be happy?
Then I'll be much more relieved.
All right.
Not happy.
Well, we hope you guys really have a great time at the truck show this week. So when does it start? Thursday? That's for vendors only, I think, Thursday. Mm-hmm. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
like Friday night.
This upcoming week, get yourselves over to the truck show. Guys, for any of you truck drivers that have never really been to Matt's before, just ask your trucking company if you're going to be in the vicinity. Can you lay over there, even to take your 10, or just to see if you can get a 24 there. They have big truck parking right there. Trust me, they want you to show up. And most truckers can get in free. I'm pretty sure it's free for truckers. And
most I can tell you,
what's that?
As far as I know, it's mostly free. The only thing that's not would be like they have like VIP stuff.
Yeah.
Which is the shows and extra things like that.
You can't walk Louisville in a day. You can walk it, but you won't see everything in one day. If you've never been to the Great American Truck Show, wait a second. That's GATS. This is Mid-American. And by the way, Dallas is going to be back in 27. We already know.
Next year.
We know the guy that's going to be running it. I don't know how good it's... I know he does a great show, Jesus, but I don't know... Is it going to be as big as GATS was? I don't know. But for all you drivers that have never been to Matt's, the Mid-America Truck Show, you should really... If you got a chance, go. It's very, very... It's like going to the World's Fair. It's just giant. It's amazing.
There's so much stuff there that just circulates around you as a driver. So it's all the stuff that you would use, but then it's also stuff for your truck. It's also stuff that companies use. It's just a very, very informative when it comes to
You will have a great time.
I think so.
Yeah.
It just,
Ruthann loves the truck shows, don't you?
I do.
You really do. She literally was trying to manipulate me into going. I said no like 25 times, and then the following week she'd come up with a new reason to go. So you love going to the truck shows. I do too. I really do. I like
seeing everybody. I like seeing, our friends. I like seeing everyone.
Yeah.
And the trucks are just an added bonus.
Yeah. Yeah, Lord willing, we'll get there next year.
Well, next year we'll try and make sure that we loosen some of our responsibility enough to where we can maybe attend it a little bit easier.
We had a good time at the Florida Truck Show, though.
We did. We had an awesome time at Florida Truck Show. We had a great time at TCA.
And we're going to try to be in Houston this year, right?
Yeah, Houston is in July.
I thought it was August.
July.
Okay. No promises. Jesus, I think, already has a spot for us. But anyways. All right. We're out of here.
Peace.
Praise the Lord.